happy with that, Kirk?
I think it'll work.
I think it'll work.
This is Kirk Brandenburg with Study Sasquatch. I'm heading to the forests of the Washington Cascade Mountains. I'll be camping in 3 different areas with some amazing people. I'm taking you along on 3 different camping and Sasquatch research trips, and along the way, I'll explain all about our Sasquatch surveillance project. Here we are, arriving at the first camp. The structure of our organization is that we conduct field research, camping research trips where we collect audio evidence and video evidence with our handheld thermals and look for physical evidence like tracks. And then we post the results of our efforts on the YouTube channel. And then we also have the Sasquatch Surveillance Project, which is an exclusive project where we have long-term thermal cameras deployed in the woods. First, we obtained thermal cores from a company called FLIR, got batteries, ammo cans, and then built them from the ground up, creating thermal recording units, TRU, also known as TRUs. Then we had to work on the software and program them so that the video quality would be the best possible. When completed, each TRU is weatherproof and waterproof. They emit no light, and because of the metal ammo cans acting as a Faraday cage, they emit no electromagnetic field. They are also animal-proof. Not even a bear can break into one. Each TRU is motion activated, meaning when there's movement in the field of view, it then begins to record thermal video. Here they are completed. We still have to paint the protective ring around the lens. The version 1 lasts for 13 days in the field before you have to change the batteries and the SD card. Version 2 lasts for 23 days.
All right, here's one of the units completed. As you can see, the list of the lens area, completely recessed, steel reinforced, collared. Bear can't get to it. Here it is from the side. Solid steel construction, waterproof all the way around. And I'll turn it back toward you, and I'll lift the lid here. Pop.
Here's an example of a bull elk that was recorded with a TRU buried in a stump. It doesn't know where the camera is, but his posing sure makes it seem like he does.
And now we're just chiseling out little pieces as we need the depth. We're going to be putting in 4 of these systems, and they're going to be encapsulated in the stump, so their potential EMF output, odor, and sound are all deadened by the material in the stump itself. We're doing pretty good, though. Why is there always a giant spider? That's a big one, too.
So what are you doing, Nathan?
Just camouflaging in the units. So that way, well, this particular unit anyway. So that way they don't get eyeballed or spotted or messed with. I'll keep the
So this gives
potentially from eyeballing it.
This gives Nathan a chance to let his artistic side express itself.
Something like that. All right, well, we have this just about camouflaged here, fully put in here in the stump, installed. You can barely see that the lens is right there. And it's fully enveloped in the stump. It's incredibly difficult to see. You have to know it's there to see it. You can walk right by this 100 times and never know. So we're gonna call this good. We'll come back in the daytime and just make sure that it still looks as good as it does right now. But we'll go ahead and get out of here.
And here's an example of what the True can capture. This is a black-tail deer, a buck with antlers still in velvet, and they still have a bit of growing to do this summer. And he'll be ready to fight for does in October.
I think a good spot would be anywhere in that direction or flanking that way. I think those would be good areas.
Why are you doing that, Nathan?
So we're chiseling out the locations where we're going to contour this camera into this stump. The camera is in this 40 millimeter ammo can, and it's going to be covering the area behind us. Yeah, that's the can right there, and the lens is facing the other direction. But yeah, we're carving the slot into the stump as to point in the direction that we'd like to view as our survey location, where animals are going to cross that trail and go across that creek and hopefully cover this whole window where the animals are going to enter the meadow site. Hopefully we get where the elk, deer, bear, coyote, cougar, and all that stuff. That should more than do it. And it's looking in this direction over here. We cleared a very wide pathway and viewpoint all throughout that whole area, and anything that walks through the field of view should be detectable by the motion detection. And with that, we're going to go and get this camouflaged and set up and try to get out of here. The camera is right there. It's right there in the middle of the frame, and it is disguised in this log with all the moss, and it's going to look out this direction and cover this entire area here. So we just got out of the area where we deployed that thermal imaging camera, the long term. We call them Trues, thermal recording units, and we've set it up back there along several intersecting game corridors. And along the way back, we noted we've seen plenty of game activity. We've seen where the elk have come into this meadow, and where the deer cut in. We found bear scat and coyote scat, and several places where a cougar has crossed the creek right in front of the view of our camera. So with that noted, we chose the best location and deployed it.
The True you just saw deployed on the fallen log captured this amazing video of 4 bull elk running through the field of view. It also captured this big male black bear. You can see by the date, it's April 24th, and he's fat for a spring bear, so there must be plenty of food around.
All right, so we're at one of our first cameras, and we're getting ready to swap the batteries. You can see we have an umbrella. The rain and the snow has been totally intense and crazy, so we're going to go ahead and dig this guy out and swap the batteries, swap the SD card, and then recamouflage everything, and then make our way to the next camera. We've got to do 5 of these cameras today, and hopefully we don't run out of light. All right, well, we've managed to successfully get the camera in that stump there. Everything's nicely camouflaged. As you can see, the camera is right there in the middle. And we're going to let it run, and it's going to surveil all of this lower drainage down here. and then we'll be back to pick up the next time the SD card is full and the battery's dead. So, and with that, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here.
Here's an example of what that true captured. You can see here a black-tailed doe and her fawn successfully navigated the hill and crossed the creek.
We have furnished this particular spot with one of our thermal imaging cameras right here. And so this is going to monitor the spot for the next couple weeks. And it's going to just look down this direction here and out over the marsh.
And this is what the true captured. This big male mountain lion walking out on the old fallen log into the marsh. We expect he's probably hunting for beaver or something like that. It's just an amazing video. We visit the Trues every 2 weeks to change batteries and SD cards. It's always a good workout. That electric bike and the trailer definitely help hauling the batteries because they're plenty heavy. Chris and I taking turns pulling these batteries uphill to the camera site. Good workout.
Carrying the next two over to the other two cameras. So, lost a lot of light, but we'll try to get this done before it gets too dark. It's going to be a beautiful warm night. All right, so got the thermal in, camouflaged, and now we're just going to move on to the next one.
Here's some nice thermal video of a bobcat captured by the Trues. And in addition to the bobcat, there's this gorgeous black bear. But it has company. Another black bear. Looks like a sow and a boar. The Trues are designed to be left in place for 2 to 3 weeks. But we had 3 camping, researching, and filming trips planned this summer, and we decided to take the Trues along with us. They're helpful to place on the perimeter of camp to monitor if anything, specifically a Sasquatch, comes close to camp to investigate. First stop is a camping, researching, and filming trip with Alex Petikov of Small Town Monsters. He filmed us explaining about the Sasquatch Surveillance Project and our Trues. And he made a video, and that'll be coming out later this year. There's Alex. And he made us hamburgers for breakfast.
Gotta season them first, that's the key.
Right, we're here in camp, and Alex is cooking for us, making us hamburgers for breakfast.
You can always have breakfast. Breakfast is a universal meal.
Of hamburgers.
Yeah.
Hamburgers and eggs.
Egg burgers, always good. Gotta do the one-handed salt, be a bit tricky.
That's most impressive.
We got it. Just enough. Keep on going.
So Alex is going to expand his video series to include camp cooking.
Oh yeah, I get people all the time like, I gotta do a cooking series. I'm like, I'm not that good at stuff.
Be sure to watch all of Alex's Beyond the Trail video series under Small Town Monsters on YouTube. Trues versus trail cams. True's motion detection is triggered at 1,000 feet. Trail cams only at 100. Trues have digital motion detection. Trues can see animals in dense foliage and thick fog. Our Trues emit no infrared light, and our Trues emit no electromagnetic field, and they're bear-proof and 100% waterproof and weatherproof. Trues cost more, but they far outperform trail cams. Here's an example of a heat signature, a black-tailed deer, that was far down the logging road, and it triggered the motion detection to start recording video. And here is a black bear, far in the distance on the left side of the screen. It triggered it. This is interesting. In the circle, there's a mama bear and her 2 cubs. They triggered the motion detection. These are all long-distance shots that trail cams can't capture. All right, you've learned all about the Sasquatch Surveillance Project and the Trues. Let's do some camping and Sasquatch research with some great friends.
This is the slowest 90 I've ever heard of.
Yes, Shane said he was going to drive 90. He's going to try to lose us. So far, the max he's gone is about 15. We're only going about a quarter mile, so Nathan and I hopped in the back of Shane's truck here. We're hanging out with all the firewood. Here we are at the trailhead for going into the location where we got, or Bart got that interesting thermal video. We're going to do a recreation now and try to get a better idea of where it was and possibly, hopefully, what it was.
How often will you see presidents that someone lights here and actually can't like where we're going? So.
It's just only us. I've never seen.
You've never seen like residual like.
No, I saw one time during hunting.
Did they have?
I guess they don't have a pizza oven. Okay, but I have legit everything you could possibly.
You got it. Did you get any ticks when you were here a couple of weeks?
I did not.
Okay.
Chris picked one up.
Bart Catino captured an interesting thermal video with his handheld thermal camera the previous night. And so we're returning to the location to do a recreation and try to figure out what it was. Was it a deer? Was it a bear? Was it a Sasquatch? We're not sure. That's why doing a recreation is so important whenever you get a thermal video that you're not sure what it is, or if you think it's a Sasquatch. You have to do a comparison with people to determine size and location and to confirm what it was.
Here we are at the location where Bart recorded his thermal video that we're going to do a recreation for, try to figure out where and what it was. And many other interesting encounters have happened at this camp. It's just another added to the list.
Just hang tight, guys, for a second. I'm going to hand off the radio, and I'm going to go down there after I get Bart locked into my spot here, and then I'll hit that way.
There's a storm blowing through. There's a chance for about 3 hours it might rain, and then once this is over, it's supposed to be clear again. But we're doing the recreation right now. Okay, I'll go.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, did you walk where we were walking or down the trail?
Where you guys were walking.
Okay.
We were looking at this one trying to figure out if this is something because it's crushed. See, there's crushed miner's lettuce there. That's what it should look like. So it's crushed there. There's stuff crushed there. But that one's not crushed. That bud, that tree bud is actually crushed though. That's interesting. I don't know if I can get that in there.
Okay, Chris, you are here on your tailgate with a full kitchen set up, cooking a meal for the gang. What do you got going?
Bear tacos, my secret taco spice recipe, and then fresh ground bear from the bear that I harvested this year.
So that is bear meat right on the plate right
Yeah,
now,
that's
in the
bear-
pan.
That's bear meat on the plate,
Black bear.
black
wow.
bear, and I harvested her about 200 yards that way.
Right. All right then.
We brought her home.
Oh, and there's salsa that Bart made.
Okay.
Oh, man.
There's the, let me come over to this side, the fixins to add to the taco. And here's a picture of two of the customers. Looking forward. All right. Thanks, Chris.
No problem.
What are you doing now, Chris?
We're making more tacos.
Well, what happened to the first batch?
We ate it all
Why would we do such a thing?
because it's delicious.
There you go. Perfect answer every time. Okay, here's Nathan and Shane Corson, and they are going to e-bike into a secondary camp with their backpacks on and all their gear, and they're going to stay in the camp there tonight where lots of activity has happened in the past.
The goal is to kind of be the bait. We're going to go there, be a private little breakaway, but make noise closer to where we think they spend time and hopefully draw them in. And then when this group breaks off, maybe there's a distraction between the two groups interacting and going around, and maybe lose track of one of us who might be hiding back at camp, such as Kirk had mentioned earlier. And something comes in curious and inquisitive and gets caught.
All right, guys.
All was quiet for Shane and Nathan at their satellite camp, but an incredible power knock was heard at base camp after Rebecca did her yodel call.
And what's fun? Oh, it scared me.
I knew for a second. I was like, wait a minute.
What's funny is,
Perfect.
but down here in Deep 7,
Yeah, try to stir it up first. But
that wasn't Rebecca. You better get your camera up there.
I got it.
I don't know. It could be that Nathan was just giving you a chance before he came. Oh, you want an elk? There's meadow up there.
And we're moving on to another camp. Here's our camp on a foggy, misty morning. Camped among these big old growth trees. It's just gorgeous here.
There's the logging road, forest road into camp.
Kip Morrill and Shane Corson helped me to deploy and camouflage the trees at our new camp area.
Man, the squirrels have been pretty ferocious on this stump.
You're all about it.
I'm all about it. All about it. This is an amazing location. There's Mount Adams. Can't really see it because of the cloud cover. Kurt Brandenburg setting up one of his thermal units. He's going to focus in on this area. Wow, this is pretty amazing out here. Just doing a little exploring. Link Berries have put our thermal cameras, Kirk's thermal cameras. Again, part of Sasquatch Study. They have a YouTube. Check them out. Some of the best work being done in this field. I can only imagine camping out here on a clear day and seeing Mount Adams right there. Having this whole area to yourself. The audio, your listening experience would be amazing. Kind of blown away. This is cool. Very cool.
It's very thoughtful. I appreciate it. This has the worst quality millikelvin rating in terms of being able to differentiate between small temperatures, but it's still useful, and especially if it's the viewing distance isn't very far. So I'm gonna go to about where I'm hoping a Sasquatch will be. Still see me?
Yep.
We didn't catch much on the thermal cameras. We got this cottontail rabbit and then this strange biped. Here's me driving in just so you can see on the thermal But what was cool is we caught the fog rolling in, and you can still see through the thick, dense fog, but it did obscure the image a little bit.
All right, so we pulled in late last night into this area. We've set up our camp right here. We're at the base. We call this camp Lower Grouse Camp, and there's Upper Grouse Camp up above. We had camped in here prior and had something interesting happen where something was thrown into camp. We've completely surrounded this whole area late last night with thermal imagers. We have at least 7 or 8 running currently that are just going to monitor the area as we're in here. And we got all set up in the dark and slept last night. Didn't hear much, just some popping in the timber down below and also up above for a little ways. And this morning we may have heard a bear go down the ravine. But as you can see, this is our camp. Got the kitchen area, the vehicle set up. Kirk's further back down the road. My tent's right here. We're in a good little ledge spot. I'll just show you. Yeah, beyond the vehicle here, you can see there's a ridge through the trees out there. And you got Kirk Brandenburg over here and Bart Catino, the man. He's just making his fancy Sicilian breakfast stuff.
Some salsa.
Yeah. So, pretty cool. I think he said he's going to make hash browns and bacon and toast. And when Bart camps, he goes full bore. Full board, like full-on kitchen, coolers, bags, everything. There's just nothing is spared. There's food laying everywhere. Yeah, brings a full cutting board and fancy chopping knife and all that stuff. It's pretty crazy. So over here, I'll just show you an example of what we're doing with the Trues. Here's Kirk's camp right here. So we've got one True. This is a True 2.0, and we've got it on the table here. And it's just looking, this is it right here, running. And it is just pointed up that slope and looking up into the timber above us. And we have other ones. We have one right there. We have one over there toward the ravine. We've got one down there. We've got one down the road, down slope, and another looking down a straight shot. Got one way up where the road switchbacks up, looking down into the ravine. And yeah, we're pretty much set up to cover the entire area pretty well. So hopefully something happens tonight. Todd Hale's going to join us this evening when he gets out here. But as you can see, we're in a beautiful spot. It's just remote, and we've had very little traffic up here, human-wise. Nice huckleberry platform growing up through there. Some Salal, Oregon grape. Tons of food. Red huckleberry's full swing. So is the blue huckleberry and blueberry. So, yeah. We'll see what happens.
Here we are at a different campsite. This is nearby where we're all set up, and Todd put his audio recorder at this campsite, get it away from all the noise we were making. And it's right up here at the top of this little hill here. Come along with me as I retrieve it. There it is. Sony PCM, or Sony M10. And he's got it on a tripod. And anything vocalizing or making knocks or rock clacks in this upper camp, about a quarter of a mile away from our main camp, he will have caught it. You might hear a knock, what sounds like a knock every once in a while. It's the squirrels. Squirrels are climbing up in the trees and dropping the conifer cones. And they drop and they hit branches and they sound like wood knocks. Is everybody hanging around, drinking their coffee this morning? We got Bart Catino, Todd Hale, Zachary Hale, Nathan Bronis. We all look like crap because we've been out here for a couple days.
Hey, speak for yourself, man.
I feel like I look fine.
Notice I'm not on camera.
Oh, wow. We got a lot of traffic up the road here.
All right, how much Sasquatch activity did y'all have last night?
Dude, there's a lot. I mean, you heard this morning. There's knocks all around us.
Yeah, I just explained. It's the squirrels.
We were surrounded by a squad of
Squirrel
squatches.
Squirrel squatches.
Squirrel squatches.
Yeah, this whole time we thought we were gaining knowledge on how the Sasquatches communicate through knocks, but they're just imitating squirrels. Anyway, that's a joke. All right.
You guys are dorks.
Shut this one down. Here we are under the canopy, watching the rain drip, having a spirited conversation. What do you guys think about this rain, though?
It's pretty wet. It is.
I'm over it.
It's very wet.
Todd, Zachary, and Nathan had to head for home, leaving Bart and me as the only campers remaining. But we were determined to stir things up on a night walk tonight. Bart has his techniques, his ways to draw the Sasquatches to him.
Yeah, I wish it were that easy. No, we got a lot of thermals out tonight. Going to be tripoding overnight. As you said, very special area. I'm a visitor, so I come twice a year. But no, I love it. This is night 9 for me. Started in Northern California. Get up, spend a little time with the guys, and we're doing it. We got another night left after this.
Even if they don't interact with us on this road walk, it's a good chance that they may follow us back to camp to observe us and check us out later after we go to sleep. As we were getting to the trailhead from the gravel forest road, it sounded like something threw a rock, and then it hit a tree, landed on the ground, and bounced.
Beautiful. I heard it. There's been audio here of metallic banging on metallic, so we figured return the favor and let them know exactly where we are.
What it is it's corrugated steel culvert.
That's it.
And it's a washed out section of this creek, and we've been hearing the banging on metal up here, and we think that must be what's been banging. All right, here's Bart. He's got a new rock.
Let's give it another shot. I'm doing this. It's dark. There we go. Thank you.
He hit it that time. Now we're just going to wait, see if anything responds. Here's Bart scanning with his thermal camera. It's a new high-resolution model. And if he gets the Sasquatch with that thermal camera, it'll be game over. We're out here seeing if the Sasquatches are around, and then if they are, if they want to interact. So anyway, we have 6 long-term thermal cameras deployed and other handheld thermal cameras deployed in camp. And we're hoping to get one of the Sasquatches on thermal video if they came to check us out. We're back from the night walk, but the road walk, the night walk we just took, the purpose of that is to be different than normal campers who just hang out in the camp and never leave when it gets dark. When you leave the camp, you stand out, you become unique, and you become an object of curiosity to the Sasquatches if they're in the area, to the point where they'll follow you and monitor you and sometimes interact. So that's the purpose of the road walk, to go out there and try to solicit, to make contact, solicit interaction with them. And we did it tonight, and we're back, and now we'll see if anything comes in tonight. Bart and I had one more night, and so we decided to change camps and move up to the upper camp, which is about a quarter-mile away. Bart is now in the process of figuring out where he wants to park. This camp is close to the other camp, and we hiked up here last night and had a rock thrown close to us, so we think this might be a better option tonight. And this is Bart going through his process of trying to figure out where he wants to park so he can therm out his windows overnight.
Well, we own this site tonight, so I think I'm going to park parallel to this site here, and that way I want to face uphill. I'm a big believer in having my thermals already on something artificial. So vehicle, anything that's electric, that's supposedly artificial. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the high ground. From my experience, they've always had the high ground, the sniper position, watching the human behavior. So I always want to forfeit that to them and give them the proverbial window to come in on us.
Love it.
Let's do it.
Here we are in camp, the new camp Bart and I just moved to today. And there's my tent, my vehicle. Bart sitting over there on a chair, Bart's vehicle. And the last people who camped in this camp, Nathan and Chris, last week or 2 weeks ago, they said something was throwing rocks and moving around this side of camp. And so Bart and I are placing a thermal recording unit, True TRU, thermal recording unit, True 2.0. It's our second version. And we're placing it on this stump down here. And there it is. And I'll show you the thermal image now. Turning on this monitor. So the bottom right on the monitor is a little hosed up because I stepped on it.
We'll have to get a new one. But you can see there's a nice stump right there in the middle that we're looking over, and this big tree takes a big chunk out, but I'll try to slide it to the left, the field of view a little bit, turn the canister. But that we're looking downhill, because you can see how much it's slanted down, the true and the ammo can it's in. And hopefully what we'll get is something crossing that field of view, something being a Sasquatch. Okay, you can see this tree obstructing the field of view. We're going to try to aim left further to get that out of the field of view. And hopefully we have enough space on the left side. And yes, it looks like we do. So there, that gives us a more open window without a large obnoxious tree taking out a bunch of our real estate in our field of view. So I'm going to leave it right there. Now I'm going to camo it, but it's always good to get a look on all sides. There it is. It's not the best camo job, but it's only going to be here one night. And these are usually built for long-term deployment of 3 weeks, but I'm dragging it along on our camping research trip, and we've been deploying them at our camps. So this is a one-night location for this guy. Hopefully we'll get something. When you're conducting Sasquatch research, it's important to have audio recorders like this Olympus LS11 and this Olympus LS7. They record sounds in the woods really well. But another thing that they do is they enable you to make sure that you don't exaggerate or come to inaccurate conclusions. This trip last night, I could have sworn as I was sleeping in my vehicle that something was outside my vehicle, walking around it, touching the things, moving the things in my camp, and I was convinced of it. And as the day has gone on, I've reviewed thermal video, and I just now reviewed on the computer here the audio that we recorded in camp last night. And nothing that I recall hearing is on the audio recording. There was nothing recorded with the thermal video in camp. And what that tells me is that I was just dreaming the whole thing. And that happens sometimes. You just have vivid dreams that you swear it really happened. And then you got to check the backup data, the audio and the video from camp overnight to make sure if it really happened. I've camped with other fellows who got up and said, check that audio, check that video. There was a Sasquatch walking around my tent for like an hour last night. And they're just 100% convinced. Then you check everything and there's nothing there. The human mind is amazing. You can have vivid dreams that seem like it's really happening. And you get out here in the woods, you get tired, you get extended, you eat differently, you sleep differently than your normal routine. And then you get to sleep at night and you have crazy dreams. So always back up what you think happened with real data.
Chargers move from our left to our right in this opening quarter.
We're listening to Monday Night Football as we're out here in the middle of the Gifford Pinchot Forest. Not only do we get to listen to Monday Night Football, but here's Bart making pizza in the woods. This is how hard it is for me that I have to struggle out here in the woods.
Life is tough.
So you're preparing the crusts.
Par-bake them.
Par-bake. And then later on you will
Dress them and
gotcha.
done.
Getting spooky.
Yes. Love. We like spooky.
You know, this whole research into Sasquatch could be over quickly. It might be tonight. Once the Sasquatches see Bart making pizza, they'll be in here wanting some.
Yep. Wouldn't that be something?
It's real close. It's almost done.
Get a little more at the top, like the browning on top.
Oh my goodness, there it is, folks.
It is.
Okay, it's time to collect the thermal cameras. It's the morning of the last day, heading home day. And here's the thermal camera. Now it's time to go home and crunch the data. All the audio and all the thermal video that's been recorded. We have to sort out the squirrel noises. They've been just putting on a show, dropping cones from up above, and as the cones come down, they make all kinds of noises. It's always important in Sasquatch research. You gotta sort out what's Sasquatch and what isn't. I'm gonna collect this thermal recording unit and then grab the others and off we go. Okay, I've hiked up to the location of our next true. This is true number 2. There it is.
Okay, here's number 3. Thermal recording unit number 3. Camouflaged on this stump. Voila. Okay, this is number 4. The 4th true that we have deployed here into these local woods where we've been camping. And been aiming that direction, down slope. Hopefully it got something. Okay, we're here to pick up thermal recording unit number 5. And tell me when you see it. We've been covering this intersection of this of these 2 logging roads, and we buried it in this slash pile at the intersection. And there it is. That's the lens. That's all you can see. Got to give credit to Nathan. He camoed this one. The 6th thermal recording unit was stashed, and it's right there. You can see it easily from this vantage point, but if you're up on the road, you can't see it.
Here are some thermal videos of black-tailed deer that were captured by true number 6.